understand that when you build a base like that, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to break down, and that's what a lot of the bears have been betting on, and they've been throwing everything at it, or it's going to break out. Clearly, we believe is going to break out. And the longer the base, you say 5 years, the longer the base, the bigger the breakout. So we're really looking forward to that.
On August 28, 2020, Tesla stock completed a recent run-up by hitting a closing price of $147 per share. Now, almost 3 years later, Tesla stock is sitting almost in the exact same place it was 3 years ago, closing at $170 per share at the time of this recording, or about 15% higher than it closed back in August of 2020. Since that time, Tesla has continued to execute incredibly as a company. In those 3 years, Tesla has opened, expanded, or announced 7 new factories, they've stockpiled an additional $12 billion in cash, and they've announced or released a slew of new products. Current fears around inflation, recession, and decreasing profit margins continue to provide an overhang on the stock. But with every month and quarter that passes, the underlying business of Tesla continues to get stronger. As Cathie Wood said it best when Tesla was in a similar position back in April of 2019, the longer the base, the bigger the breakout.
And the longer the base, you say 5 years, the longer the base, the bigger the breakout.
So today's video is about highlighting the top 25 ways Tesla has improved their business since August of 2020, and how we as investors can have confidence that Tesla the business has never been stronger than it is today. Let's dive right in. One of the catalysts for the stock at that time was the anticipation of Tesla's Battery Day. And in September of 2020 at Battery Day, Tesla unveiled their plans to eventually manufacture a new type of battery cell, the 4680 cell, and introduce structural battery packs that would significantly cut down the weight and cost for their vehicles. Today, they are producing well over 1 million 4680 battery cells per week between their Fremont and Texas factories, and they're ramping battery production at 50% each quarter while driving costs down. We've recently seen a cheaper standard range Model Y come available for sale in the US that is utilizing both the 4680 cells and structural pack promised on Battery Day. In October of 2020, Tesla did its first public release of FSD Beta to a small subset of select customers. Then, this past November, Tesla did a wide release of FSD Beta to all customers in North America, bringing FSD Beta to over 400,000 customers. Today, Tesla has over 150 million miles of cumulative data collected that is growing exponentially every day, dwarfing their next closest competitor in the autonomous driving space. In December 2020, Tesla started producing the Model Y at their Giga Shanghai factory for the first time. 2 years later in 2022, the Model Y became the 4th best-selling vehicle in the world based on its 2022 full-year sales. Now, the vehicle that was only being produced in Fremont 2.5 years ago is on pace for being the single best-selling vehicle in the entire world in 2023. In April of 2021, another one of Elon's companies, the Boring Company, opened its first public project, the Las Vegas Loop. This is important to Tesla because the tunnel project exclusively uses Tesla vehicles and is the first of many Boring Company projects that will be built in the coming years. This loop system has already enabled over 1 million passengers to experience what it feels like to ride in a Tesla, and they just received local approval to add an additional 25 miles of tunnels and 18 new stations just in Vegas. In June of 2021, Tesla delivered their first batch of Model S Plaid vehicles, becoming the fastest production vehicle ever made. The Plaid has embarrassed many vehicles that are 3 to 5 times more expensive and has been a great source of free advertising for Tesla, as people are amazed at its impressive rate of acceleration and top speed. In August of 2021, Tesla unveiled their new AI supercomputer, Dojo. This massive system will be one of the linchpins to solving autonomous driving and generalized AI, and could even be licensed to other companies. Elon recently stated on the last earnings call that if Dojo works the way they hope it will, it could be worth hundreds of billions of dollars for Tesla, in the same way that AWS has become a huge cash cow for Amazon's business. In September of 2021, Tesla broke ground on their first megafactory in Lathrop, California, their first dedicated factory to producing megapacks. The factory was operational in less than a year after breaking ground, and is now on its way to ramping to 40 gigawatt hours per year of battery storage, which could add $20 billion of annual revenue as early as next year. In October of 2021, Hertz rental car company announced that they would be purchasing 100,000 Teslas to add to their fleet. This order was the first of many that solidified Tesla's place with commercial customers like rideshare companies, vehicle subscription services, as well as government agencies. Because of Tesla's low cost of ownership compared to the gas, maintenance, and repairs of a typical ICE vehicle, they've become a no-brainer for commercial operators. Hertz is still expected to add another 50,000 Teslas to their fleet in the next year or two. That same month, Tesla launched an upgraded version of their car insurance that for the first time included real-time driving behavior data in determining a person's premium. Tesla insurance has now expanded to 12 states in the last few years, with more to come soon. It on average saves drivers 40% or more off of what they would typically pay for insurance, significantly driving down the total cost of owning a Tesla and adding to Tesla's vertical integration strategy. In January of 2022, Tesla reported Q4 2021 earnings and had its first quarter where its services and other division surpassed $1 billion in revenue for the quarter. They also eked out a profit of $16 million from this section of the business, marking the first time in the company's history that this part of the business has been profitable on its own. This trend of growth and profitability has only grown since that quarter, and Tesla is on track to do over $7 billion in revenue and $500 million in profit from this side of the business alone in 2023 based on its Q1 run rate. In March of 2022, Gigafactory Berlin officially started production. A year later, they are now producing over 5,000 Model Ys per week and have introduced brand new colors to the fleet like the Midnight Cherry Red and Quicksilver. Tesla is expected to double production to 10K per week by the end of the year and has already submitted their application to expand Giga Berlin to over 1 million vehicles of annual production. A month later, in April of 2022, Tesla officially opened its Giga Texas factory by hosting a Cyber Rodeo event. Giga Texas is already producing over 4,000 Model Ys per week, just a little behind Berlin, and is catching up to Fremont's production of the 4680 cells. It will also be Tesla's primary manufacturing hub for Cybertruck, with production beginning next quarter. Giga Texas is already one of the largest factories in the world, and it just announced and started a $775 million expansion earlier this year. In July of 2022, Tesla sent out an over-the-air software update enabling automatic pre-tensioning of their seatbelts when the vehicle senses it is split seconds away from being involved in a crash. Around that same time, the Model Y set a record for the safest vehicle ever tested on Europe's newest and toughest vehicle safety test. Tesla has continued to extend their lead in manufacturing the safest vehicles in the world. The latest data shows that Teslas are involved in only one crash per 1.4 million miles driven, less than half of the US average. And the numbers become exponentially better if Tesla's autopilot or FSD softwares are engaged. In August of 2022, President Joe Biden signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act, which brought back a $7,500 EV tax credit that had expired for Tesla in 2019. The IRA also added substantial credits for battery manufacturing and battery storage, and it extended solar credits. The best part about this $7,500 credit is that it will become a point-of-sale credit beginning in 2024, so Tesla will be able to advertise their prices in the US as $7,500 lower than they are today. The IRA is set to run through 2032, with the likelihood of being worth hundreds of billions of dollars to Tesla over the next decade. In September of 2022, Tesla hosted AI Day 2 and unveiled the first working prototype of the Tesla Bot. While many multi-billion-dollar public companies struggle to find new lucrative markets to enter, Tesla just solidified their path to disrupting what could be the largest market of all, labor. Tesla has continued to invest large sums of money in moonshot projects like this without risking profitability or taking away from their core service. It's likely we will see the bot utilized within Tesla's own production in a meaningful way at some point in 2024. In October of 2022, Tesla set a record monthly production number of over 87,000 vehicles at its Giga Shanghai factory, which completed a 9-month expansion that doubled the factory's capacity. This marked the first time it surpassed a run rate of 1 million vehicles per year at a single factory, and this was an almost 8x improvement from where it was at the start of this video when it produced only 11,800 vehicles in August of 2020. That same month, Tesla reported free cash flow for the third quarter of $3.3 billion, making it the highest single quarter of free cash flow the company has ever had. The company that many thought would never become profitable has now hit 15 straight quarters of profitability from the third quarter of 2019 up until now. Tesla is now sitting on over $22 billion in cash and continues to stockpile cash every quarter despite tough macroeconomic conditions and an aggressive focus on scale and innovation. In November of 2022, Tesla announced that they had just installed their 40,000 supercharger stall worldwide. Since August of 2020, Tesla has more than doubled their supercharger network, going from 2,100 stations and 19,000 connectors to now over 5,000 stations and 46,000 connectors. Tesla also recently launched their V4 supercharger beginning in Europe, which will enable faster charging speeds and continue to open up the supercharger network to non-Tesla vehicles, creating yet another revenue stream for Tesla. In December of 2022, Tesla delivered its first batch of semi-trucks to Pepsi subsidiary Frito-Lay, quieting many of the doubters that thought an electric semi was impossible and opening up a new commercial vehicle line for the company. This closed the loop on a product that was first unveiled back in 2017 and is projected to deliver 50,000 units in 2024. In January of this year, we got word that the final Gigapress for the Cybertruck had arrived in Giga, Texas. It now feels like we are getting daily pictures and updates of Cybertruck testing or local prototypes being seen on roads. Now, the truck that many thought was just CGI or a stock pump is 1 quarter away from entering production, 4 years after its initial unveil. Tesla has an estimated 1.5 million pre-orders for the Cybertruck, and this will be one of the best forms of word-of-mouth advertising once these futuristic vehicles start to hit the roads later this year. This past February, Tesla announced an expansion of their Giga Nevada factory, which will add a dedicated semi-factory as well as 100 gigawatt hours annually of 4680 cell production. This expansion will take one of Tesla's most unknown factories and potentially make it its most important one, with enough cell production for over 2 million light-duty vehicles per year. Then this past March, Tesla broke ground on a lithium refinery in Corpus Christi, Texas, further expanding their vertical integration into the mining and refining side of the business. This continues to give Tesla more control over their supply chain, will decrease their production costs long-term, and is expected to be operational next year. Also in March of 23, Tesla unveiled another new Gigafactory, Giga Mexico, at the company's Investor Day. While most of their competition has struggled to catch up to Tesla's current manufacturing process, Tesla laid out a completely new process of manufacturing that would be half the cost to produce compared to their current Model 3 and Y platform. This new manufacturing process is expected to debut at Giga Mexico and enable the $25,000 vehicle that was promised at Battery Day in 2020. Last month in April, Tesla announced another new megafactory, this one in Shanghai, to replicate the annual 10,000 megapack production and 40 gigawatt hour goal of their Lathrop facility. If this megafactory is anything like the Gigafactory in Shanghai, it will be producing megapacks by this time next year. With a current order backlog of megapacks all the way into early 2025, it's possible we will see at least one more megafactory announcement by the end of the year. Also in April, Tesla reported its 4th consecutive quarter of revenue growth and profitability from its energy generation and storage section of the business. Storage deployed has more than 5x from where it was 3 years ago, reaching almost 4,000 megawatt hours of storage deployed and over $1.5 billion in quarterly revenue. Elon has stated multiple times that the energy division will someday surpass autos in terms of revenues, and we are now seeing substantial evidence that this is the case. And if all of that wasn't enough, I have a bonus one for you. As just a couple months ago, Tesla released Master Plan Part 3, creating a clear path to transitioning the entire world to sustainable energy. In Master Plan Part 3, Tesla alluded to the fact that they are working on not only a compact vehicle, but also a Tesla van, a bus, and a home HVAC unit or heat pump. Tesla's path to 20 million vehicles in 2030 is becoming more and more concrete with each quarter that passes. Now, I want you to take a step back and look at all that has happened to Tesla over the last 33 months and really get a full grasp of how much the underlying business of Tesla has improved despite very little movement in the stock price. It's very rare for a month to go by where Tesla doesn't reach a major milestone or make a massive announcement, and that progress only seems to be accelerating. After all, Tesla just stated on their last earnings call that they plan to increase their operational spend to $7 to $9 billion annually, putting their foot on the gas pedal when a lot of their competition is backing off their growth plans. Now imagine where we'll be in another 33 months. And what happens when Tesla is executing like this into a backdrop of an improving economy where we're coming out of a recession and interest rates are improving versus the last couple years where they faced COVID shutdowns, supply chain issues, inflation, and recession headwinds. I think there's this underlying feeling amongst retail investors that time is not on our side right now. Each day that passes takes us into higher and higher interest rates, more economic uncertainty, growing delivery expectations that may need more price cuts to fulfill that demand, and at least a year before we see any meaningful progress on a more affordable Tesla. So time doesn't really feel like it's on our side right now. But when we take a step back, I truly believe the opposite is true. With each day that passes, Tesla continues to ramp up Berlin, Austin, and Lathrop. They're making more progress on 4680 production. The Giga Nevada expansion and semi-manufacturing facility is one day closer to volume production. Cybertruck is now a quarter away. Giga Mexico and the Shanghai Megafactory are one day closer to coming to fruition. And all of this is happening while Tesla continues to stockpile cash. And it may not be as much cash as we would like, but they are still stockpiling cash in a really tough environment. So many investors are getting spooked because vehicle profit margins are taking a hit, but Tesla's business has never been stronger. Much like Amazon has done for the last 20 years, Tesla is going to continue to prioritize growth over short-term profitability every day of the week. Tesla is a master of running to where the ball is going, not to where it is today. They're not trying to squeeze all the juice and profit out of their business in this moment. And they're doing all of this while their competition, especially in the US, continues to struggle massively. If all of this makes you uncomfortable as an investor, this probably isn't the company for you. But if you're able to take a step back and see recent price cuts as a simple blip on the radar, then you will be able to take advantage of Tesla's next big stock breakout. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment below. Also, if you would like your own digital copy of the infographic timeline of all the events discussed in today's video, then head over to the link in the description and I'll send you a free copy. And then lastly, let me know if I missed anything. Are there any major events from the last 3 years that you would have included in this video that I forgot? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks again for watching.